The galaxy is vast, filled with countless planets, stars, and civilizations. For centuries, the Galactic Empire, a powerful alien force, has dominated the stars. Their technology is beyond anything humanity could even imagine. Advanced weaponry, shields that can withstand the strongest of blows, and warships the size of cities. For them, Earth was nothing more than a small, inconsequential planet at the edge of the galaxy. From their hidden command center aboard the mighty flagship Zoreth, the alien commanders observe Earth from afar. They are calm, almost smug, as they prepare for their long-anticipated invasion. To them, humanity is a primitive species, incapable of defending itself against a power like theirs. The planet is seen as little more than an experiment, a curiosity among countless others they conquered. They mock humanity's ancient technologies, viewing Earth's weapons as weak, outdated, and useless. "Look at these primitive tools," an alien general scoffs, pointing at a holographic display that shows images of human soldiers wielding guns and tanks. These creatures still think they're capable of defense. It will be a simple task to crush them. Around the table, other commanders laugh in agreement. Their fleet is vast, and their superiority is unquestioned. The invasion is merely a formality. In their eyes, it's nothing more than an exercise to expand their empire. The Zoreth, a towering warship that stretches across the horizon of Earth's moon, hovers in space, cloaked and nearly invisible. Flickers of light pulse from the ship as its advanced cloaking technology makes it nearly undetectable. The alien commanders stand in their high-tech command center, surrounded by floating holograms that depict Earth's most advanced weaponry, which they dismiss as outdated relics. Meanwhile, Earth itself is a blue and green jewel below them, seemingly peaceful, unaware of the storm about to hit. Suddenly, as the commanders laugh and prepare to initiate their attack, something catches their attention. A massive rip in space-time begins to form directly above Earth. The sky cracks open like glass, and to the aliens' astonishment, massive human warships, ships that were thought to be mere myths, emerge from hidden bases deep within Earth's atmosphere. These ships are unlike anything the aliens have ever seen, sleek, powerful, and terrifying. They are equipped with weapons and technology that the alien invaders did not expect. The commanders freeze, their faces turning pale as the human warships emerge into view. Cloaked by their own advanced technologies, these ships had remained hidden for centuries, waiting for this very moment. The Zoreth's command center is thrown into chaos. Alien officers scramble to gather data as these human warships, long believed to be fables, now appear fully armed and ready for battle. The alien invaders had grossly underestimated humanity's potential. They had assumed humans were weak, helpless creatures, far beneath their notice. But now, it was clear that Earth was not as helpless as they had imagined. "We've been deceived," the alien general growls, his voice shaky with panic. The entire fleet of the Galactic Empire had underestimated humanity's will to survive. The alien commanders scramble to initiate their first wave of attack, determined to regain control. But they know they are up against something unexpected, something far more dangerous than they could ever have anticipated. As the massive human warships emerge from the sky, the alien forces quickly switch their plans. Instead of the planned surgical strikes to disable Earth's defenses, they launch a full-scale invasion, determined to crush humanity in one fell swoop. Their forces pour down from the heavens in waves, hundreds of advanced alien fighter ships, massive transporters, and robotic soldiers, all descending to Earth in a rain of destruction. The first shots are fired as the alien forces unleash devastating beams of energy, incinerating the Earth's atmosphere. Humanity had prepared for this moment, but the aliens were still too powerful and too confident in their victory. Their ships unleash a barrage of missiles, and the surface of Earth shudders as the first bombs begin to fall. Alien warships break through Earth's atmosphere, leaving trails of fire and smoke in their wake. The cities below are engulfed in explosions as massive beams of alien energy strike the ground. Huge craters begin to form as the aliens' heavy artillery hits, sending shockwaves through the environment. The Earth's military, though prepared, is overwhelmed by the sheer number of alien ships, and panic begins to spread across the planet's surface. But just as the alien forces believe they have Earth under control, a shift occurs. The human resistance, who had been waiting for this moment, does not fall easily. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity has one final trick up its sleeve. Humanity's resistance was not just built on technology, but on strategy and ingenuity. Despite the alien forces' technological superiority, the human military has been preparing for years. They knew their resources were limited, and they knew they were fighting an enemy far stronger than themselves. But they also understood one thing. Humanity's greatest strength lay in its unpredictability. As the alien ships advance, Earth's own countermeasures are activated. From hidden bunkers deep beneath the surface of Earth's oceans and mountains, cloaked human warships begin to surface, revealing weapons and technology that defy alien expectations. The first human ship fires its weapons, catching the aliens by surprise. A massive burst of energy shoots across the sky, striking one of the alien warships. It bursts into flames, and the alien ship spirals toward the Earth below, crashing into the ground in a fiery explosion. More human warships follow, emerging from their hidden bases, joining the fight against the alien invaders. The fight has only just begun, but humanity is no longer fighting on the back foot. They are now on the offensive. Hundreds of human ships, sleek and fast, emerge from beneath the Earth's surface. Their weapons fire with pinpoint accuracy, striking alien ships in the sky. Explosions light up the night as the sky above Earth becomes a battlefield, filled with lasers, rockets, and missile fire. Human soldiers, piloting these advanced ships, maneuver in and out of the alien forces, expertly dodging and attacking with precision. As the human forces fight back with a strength and determination the aliens did not expect, the leaders of the Galactic Empire are thrown into disarray. Panic spreads through the ranks. The invasion, which was supposed to be a swift and easy conquest, has turned into a nightmare. Alien commanders shout orders to retreat, but it is too late. Humanity has awakened, and they are ready for a fight. One by one, the alien warships are struck down, their advanced shields barely holding against the relentless barrage from Earth's hidden fleet. The Galactic Empire's plan to dominate Earth has failed, and the commanders of the Zorith, once so confident in their victory, are now gripped with fear. The unexpected resistance from humanity has turned the tide of battle. The aliens are not just facing an underdog, they are facing an enemy that will not be easily defeated. The first stage of their invasion has failed. The aliens had thought humanity was weak. Now they must prepare for the full force of Earth's retaliation. As the alien forces regroup and send for reinforcements, the question looms, can humanity hold off the invasion, or will the aliens crush them once and for all? The tension builds as Earth's hidden forces continue to fight back. Each human victory met with a new challenge from the relentless alien fleet. But the humans are not backing down. The real battle is just beginning. The shock of the alien invasion was still fresh when Earth's surprise counteroffensive began. As the alien warships advanced, dropping from the sky like a swarm of locusts, they expected to encounter little more than panic and chaos. Instead, they were met with a well-coordinated military force, hidden deep within Earth's most protected places. Humanity had been preparing for years, stockpiling technology, and creating secret weaponry, all in anticipation of a moment just like this. The first shockwave of human resistance came from nowhere. The alien forces, so accustomed to their superiority, found themselves caught off guard. Massive warships equipped with cloaking devices suddenly emerged from beneath the ocean, from mountains, and from underground bunkers. These cloaked ships used advanced technology to confuse the alien sensors, making it impossible for them to pinpoint human positions. With a loud screech, The Earth's skies erupted as human drones, which had been lying in wait, surged into the air, flanking the alien forces and attacking them from unexpected angles. The aliens' advanced weaponry proved ineffective against Earth's new countermeasures. Missiles and lasers meant to destroy human forces vanished into thin air as energy shields activated, protecting the Earth's military forces and absorbing the brunt of the alien firepower. The alien invaders were left reeling. They had anticipated an easy victory, but humanity's response was swift and unrelenting. High above Earth, in the alien command ship Zorith, alien generals watched in disbelief as their once powerful attack faltered. They had expected humanity to fold under pressure, but instead they saw explosions rip through their warships as drones fired high-powered laser blasts. Earth's ships, sleek and fast, moved with precision and speed, dodging incoming fire while returning heavy artillery that tore through the alien invaders. The sky was filled with streaks of energy and plumes of smoke as the battle raged on, and below, cities erupted in chaos. On the ground, explosions rocked futuristic cities, sending clouds of smoke and debris high into the air. The buildings, designed to withstand earthquakes and other natural disasters, crumbled as alien bombs hit them with terrifying force. In the midst of the destruction, human soldiers emerged from hidden underground bunkers, ready to engage in battle. Their uniforms were advanced, built for quick movement and protection against the alien weaponry. The battlefield was a chaotic mixture of advanced alien technology clashing with human resilience. As alien warships swooped in, their robotic soldiers dropped down from the sky like meteors, descending on cities and military outposts. The robots, hulking metal giants equipped with advanced weapons, landed in the streets, their glowing red eyes scanning the surroundings. The human soldiers, though outnumbered and under-equipped compared to the alien robots, were fast, fierce, and resourceful. They fought back with a combination of advanced weaponry and close-quarters combat skills that the aliens didn't anticipate. Guns fired as soldiers took cover behind shattered walls and burning cars. Explosions from rocket launchers illuminated the battlefield, sending aliens scrambling for cover. But it was the human fighters' agility that made the difference. Human soldiers, armed with energy blades and plasma pistols, dashed through the chaos, striking the alien robots with speed and precision. They engaged the robotic soldiers in brutal close-quarters combat, slashing through metal limbs, dodging energy blasts, and using the environment to their advantage. Buildings that once stood tall as symbols of human achievement now became deadly battlefields, with humans darting through alleyways and leaping over rooftops to gain the upper hand. The fighting was intense, but it wasn't just the technology that set humanity apart. It was their spirit. As each wave of aliens attacked, humans fought back with sheer determination, refusing to be overwhelmed by the superior numbers of the invaders. Among the soldiers fighting for Earth's survival was Bonner, a young, seasoned human fighter who had witnessed the horrors of war firsthand. Bonner was stationed in a remote underground base, tasked with protecting one of the last remaining bunkers that housed crucial data and weapons. As the alien forces descended upon his position, Bonner watched in horror as his fellow soldiers fell one by one. Each explosion, each burst of alien fire, seemed to claim another comrade. The sound of gunfire and screams echoed through the underground base as the soldiers fought valiantly, but the alien forces were too many. Bonner's heart pounded as he ducked behind a fallen pillar, his rifle raised, aiming at the approaching alien robots. The massive metal creatures advanced without mercy, their weapons primed and ready to tear through human defenses. Bonner fired his weapon, hitting one of the robots square in the chest, but it barely slowed down. The alien machine swung its giant arm, sending a human soldier flying through the air with a crushing blow. Bonner's eyes locked on his fallen comrade, a friend he had fought alongside for years. Grief flooded his heart, but it was not the time for weakness. He had seen too much to let this moment break him. Every soldier lost was a reminder of why they were fighting. to protect Earth, to protect each other, and to show the aliens that humanity was not as weak as they had believed. Fueled by grief and anger, Bonner rallied the remaining soldiers. "Stay focused. We fight for every life we can save," he shouted, his voice filled with determination. The soldiers, though battered and weary, stood tall. They fought not just for survival, but for the legacy of humanity itself. In the underground base, Bonner and his team set up barricades, preparing for the next wave of robotic invaders. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, and the glow of energy blasts filled the air as the soldiers readied their weapons. Outside, the ground shook with the heavy footsteps of the alien robots, their giant metal feet pounding the earth with terrifying force. Bonner peered around the corner, his heart racing as he saw the silhouette of an alien robot approaching. He squeezed the trigger, firing a barrage of plasma shots at its head, but the robot's armor absorbed the hits with ease. It retaliated with a blast from its shoulder cannon, narrowly missing Bonner's position. A fellow soldier, Roberts, saw an opening. Without hesitation, he dashed forward, taking advantage of the distraction, and planted an explosive charge on the robot's exposed power core. The explosion was deafening, and the robot crumpled to the ground in a heap of smoking metal. For a moment, Bonner allowed himself to feel a flicker of hope, but the battle was far from over. The alien forces were relentless, and the human resistance was stretched thin. Each victory came at a steep cost, and Bonner knew they couldn't hold out forever. As the battle raged on, the tension mounted. The alien warships in the sky unleashed waves of energy blasts, tearing through the landscape below. Human resistance forces were everywhere, fighting in cities, bunkers, and the wilderness. But the alien onslaught showed no signs of slowing down. Bonner, now leading the remaining soldiers in the underground base, prepared for another attack. The last of the robots were approaching, and this time, the fight would be harder. The human forces were exhausted, their numbers dwindling. Yet Bonner could feel the fire of determination burning within him. They weren't going to give up. Not now. Not ever. The stakes were high. If they couldn't hold their ground, humanity would fall. But Bonner was determined to make sure the aliens knew one thing above all else. Humanity would never be an easy target. They were strong, they were resilient, and they would fight until their last breath. The battle for Earth had already proven far more difficult than the aliens had anticipated. Their advanced weaponry, their armies of robots, and their superior warships were all supposed to overwhelm humanity. Instead, they faced something they didn't expect: resilience. Humanity's resolve was unbreakable, and despite the alien forces being technologically superior, the humans had found a way to fight back, one victory at a time. The alien commanders were furious. As they watched their ships fall from the sky, burning and crumbling under the weight of human resistance, they realized they had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the Earth's defenders, thinking them primitive and weak. Now, with their forces in disarray, they had no choice but to escalate their tactics. "We cannot afford to lose," one of the alien generals muttered to himself, pacing the command center of the largest warship in their fleet. "Deploy reinforcements. Launch the Ravager. It's time we end this foolish rebellion once and for all." The Ravager was their largest, most powerful warship, a behemoth capable of obliterating entire planets. It had been designed to crush any form of resistance. As the warship emerged from the depths of the alien fleet, its massive silhouette darkened the sky. The Ravager had a heavily armored exterior, with energy cannons mounted on every side, and it radiated a sense of doom. As it advanced toward Earth, it unleashed waves of laser blasts, which turned entire cities to rubble with each shot. Meanwhile, the human forces, despite the overwhelming odds, were ready for the challenge. Bonner and his team had been briefed on the Ravager's arrival. They knew this was humanity's last chance. The aliens were pulling out all the stops, but the humans had one more card to play, something the aliens never saw coming. As the Ravager moved closer, the sky above Earth became a battleground like no other. Human warships swarmed to meet the alien threat, their sleek hulls glinting in the sunlight. The Ravagers' energy cannons unleashed devastating firepower, tearing through human ships like paper. But humanity's warships were not just about brute force. They were built for speed, agility, and precision. Bonner and his team watched in awe as human forces activated their orbital bombardment weapons. Massive satellite guns, hidden in Earth's orbit for just this moment, began charging up. These laser cannons were capable of cutting through the Ravagers' thick armor, but only if they could hit the right spot. The tension was palpable as the countdown began. The first shot rang out, a brilliant blue beam of light that struck the Ravager dead center. The explosion was blinding, and for a split second, it looked as though the Ravager might fall. But the alien ship retaliated, unleashing its full arsenal in a violent burst of firepower. Humans, however, were prepared. The Ravagers' response triggered a massive wave of human counterattacks. Warships soared through the skies, firing their laser beams and missiles at the alien ship. Explosions filled the air as ships collided, and the sky was ablaze with fiery trails of energy. The Ravager retaliated with a barrage of missiles, but the humans' advanced cloaking technology kept them one step ahead, evading many of the attacks and returning fire. Then, just as the battle reached its peak, the human forces unleashed their secret weapon: orbital bombardment from Earth's surface. Massive cannons positioned deep underground fired with incredible precision, launching energy beams that tore through the Ravager's hull. The alien ship, despite its incredible power, began to show signs of weakness as it was bombarded with wave after wave of destructive energy. The battle raged on in the skies above Earth, a visually stunning spectacle of explosions, lasers, and smoke. Alien warships collided with human ships in midair, sending showers of debris raining down toward the ground below. The Ravager's size and strength might have made it an overwhelming force, but humanity's willpower and ingenuity turned the tide. Amid the chaos, Bonner and his team prepared for their final stand. The weight of their mission was not lost on them. They knew that the fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. Their comrades had already fallen in battle, and each death was a blow to their morale. The emotional toll was evident in their eyes, but there was no time to grieve. Not yet. They had a mission to complete. Bonner stood with his team in a makeshift command center beneath the surface, monitoring the ongoing battle. The faces of his fallen comrades flashed before his eyes, their sacrifices echoing in his mind. He clenched his fists in frustration. The price of victory had already been steep, and now the stakes were higher than ever. They couldn't afford to lose any more soldiers. But as he looked at his team, he could see the same fire in their eyes, the determination to keep fighting. "It's not over yet," Bonner said, his voice calm but firm. "We've come this far. We're not letting them take our planet. This is our fight." The soldiers nodded, their faces hardening with resolve. They knew what needed to be done. The Ravager was powerful, but they had something the aliens didn't: unity, determination, and the will to fight for their home. The entire human race was counting on them. Bonner turned to his closest friend, Roberts, who was monitoring the battle from a different screen. Roberts looked back at him, his expression grim but resolute. "We've got this, Bonner. Together, we can take them down." As the battle intensified, Bonner's team prepared to deploy the final phase of their plan. They had to take down the Ravager, no matter the cost. The team gathered around their weapons, readying themselves for the last, most critical attack of their lives. The mission was clear. If they didn't stop the Ravager now, humanity's last hope would be lost. Bonner stepped out of the command center, his heart heavy with the knowledge that not all of them would make it out alive. But there was no turning back. They had fought too long, lost too many, to let the alien invaders win. The sky above Earth was a fiery battleground as the final assault began. The Ravager, now battered and scarred from the relentless attacks, seemed to struggle against the human counteroffensive. Explosions lit up the sky like fireworks, and the ground below shook with the force of the weapons being deployed. Bonner and his team moved swiftly, evading enemy fire as they made their way to the surface. They fought their way through alien forces, running through smoke-filled streets and dodging energy blasts that singed the air around them. Every step they took was a step closer to their final objective, taking down the Ravager. The final push was underway. The orbital bombardment lasers had already done significant damage, but now it was up to Bonner and his team to deliver the final blow. The pressure was immense, but they were ready. This was their moment. As Bonner's team closed in on the Ravager's weak points, the tension was unbearable. Would their final attack succeed? Would humanity finally be able to defeat their alien invaders? The fate of Earth and the future of humanity hung in the balance. The battle had reached its peak, and everything would come down to this last stand. The Ravager's massive cannons fired one final time, but it was too late. The humans had already unleashed their final, devastating attack. With a massive explosion, the Ravager was torn apart, sending shockwaves through the atmosphere. The humans had done it. They had defeated the alien forces. But as the smoke cleared and the battle ended, Bonner and his team knew that their victory came at a great cost. The war was over, but the scars of battle would remain forever. Earth had survived, but humanity's fight for survival was far from over. The battlefield had already been raging for hours, the sky above Earth filled with smoke and explosions, as humanity's war against the alien invaders reached a critical point. Bonner and his team had fought tirelessly, their bodies exhausted and their minds sharp with the determination to protect their home. But the battle was far from over. The aliens were relentless, and despite all of humanity's efforts, they continued to push forward with their advanced technology. But Earth had one last card to play. Behind the scenes, in secret underground bunkers deep within Earth's most secure facilities, the human military was preparing to unveil its most powerful weapon, a technology so advanced it had remained hidden from the aliens until now. This was humanity's trump card, something the alien forces never expected. An AI-powered defense system capable of controlling an army of robotic drones. The drones had been developed as part of a peacekeeping initiative, a program designed to protect Earth's citizens from natural disasters, terrorist attacks, and other global threats. But when the alien invasion began, the AI was repurposed, transformed into a tool of war, designed to turn the tide in humanity's favor. The military, under immense pressure and with limited resources, activated the AI. This system, known as Proteus, was capable of controlling thousands of drones at once, each one equipped with high-tech weapons, powerful shields, and advanced cloaking technology. The drones were small, fast, and deadly, capable of launching precision attacks that would overwhelm the alien forces. As soon as Proteus was activated, the first wave of drones took flight, emerging from hidden bases across the globe. They swarmed the battlefield, cloaking and decloaking with breathtaking speed, confusing the aliens as they attacked with deadly force. Each drone was a perfect example of human ingenuity, highly efficient, relentless, and far more advanced than anything the aliens had ever faced. The aliens, already struggling to keep their forces together, found themselves under assault from all sides. These drones were unlike anything they had encountered, and the precision with which they attacked was terrifying. The AI-controlled drones zeroed in on the alien ships with unerring accuracy, blasting their shields and firing directly at weak points. The alien ships, massive and heavily armored, began to falter under the relentless assault. From the human warships, Bonner and his team watched in awe as the drones tore through the alien fleet. The drones moved with mechanical precision, executing complex maneuvers and coordinating their attacks like a single, unstoppable force. The tide of battle had shifted in humanity's favor, but the cost of this weapon was yet to be realized. Despite the overwhelming technological superiority of the alien forces, humanity continued to fight on, using their wit, determination, and the clever tactics they had learned over centuries of warfare. The AI-powered drones, while powerful, could only do so much on their own. It was up to the human soldiers to use their knowledge of the terrain, their advanced technologies, and their military expertise to turn the AI's power into a decisive advantage. The aliens, stunned by the appearance of the drones, quickly regrouped and attempted to counter the new threat. They deployed their own advanced weaponry, launching waves of robotic soldiers and massive energy blasts in an attempt to annihilate the human forces. But humanity was prepared. The drones, while small and seemingly vulnerable, were far more capable than the aliens had anticipated. Bonner's team moved forward with a new sense of hope. The human soldiers, though vastly outnumbered and outgunned, used the drones to their advantage, working in unison with the AI to launch surprise attacks on the aliens. They set traps, used the drones to draw the alien forces into ambushes, and coordinated their strikes with brutal efficiency. It was a true underdog story. Humans, fighting against an overwhelming enemy with far superior technology, now had the upper hand, and they were determined not to let it slip away. Their tactics, honed over years of war and conflict, were finally paying off. The human soldiers' success didn't come without sacrifice. Many brave men and women were still falling in battle, their lives given in service to the cause. But with each victory, the morale of the human forces grew. The aliens might have had better technology, but humanity had something they didn't: heart. The battle had now become a breathtaking spectacle of high-tech warfare. The human fleet, which had been hiding in the shadows, began to cloak and decloak with precision, launching surprise attacks on the alien ships that had no chance of defending themselves. Human ships, now working in tandem with the drones, danced around the alien warships, evading fire and returning blasts that rocked the enemy's hulls. Each time the human ships cloaked and decloaked, they struck with the full force of humanity's newfound power. The aliens, still trying to adapt to this new threat, were caught off guard by the unpredictable nature of the attacks. The drones, small and agile, swarmed the alien ships, slipping through their defenses with ease. Laser beams lit up the sky as the drones fired with deadly accuracy, disabling the alien ships one by one. But the most striking scenes of all were the massive robotic soldiers. These towering machines, controlled by the AI, charged into the heart of the alien installations. Each robot, armed with high-powered weapons and shielded from energy blasts, ripped through enemy defenses like they were paper. As they advanced, explosions rocked the ground, sending debris flying through the air. The clash between these massive robots and the alien forces created a brutal and chaotic battle scene that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Human soldiers, meanwhile, fought in close quarters with the remaining alien forces, using every tool at their disposal to gain an advantage. The battlefield was a mix of urban ruins, underground bunkers, and high-tech fortifications, creating a stark contrast between the old and the new, the primitive and the advanced. Bonner's team fought side by side with the drones, moving through wrecked buildings and battlefields, coordinating their attacks with the precision of a well-oiled machine. The aliens, overwhelmed by the sheer power of the drones and the relentless human forces, were slowly being driven back. As the final stages of the battle unfolded, the once proud alien invaders were now reeling from the unexpected ferocity of humanity's counteroffensive. The Ravager, the massive warship that had once seemed unstoppable, was now a shadow of its former self, riddled with holes and burning in space. Alien robots, once a symbol of superiority, now lay in pieces on the ground, shattered by the robotic soldiers controlled by Proteus. As the battle raged on, Bonner and his team moved through the battlefield, their hearts heavy with the memories of their fallen comrades. Each explosion that rocked the earth was a reminder of the sacrifices made for this moment, but their resolve remained strong. The drones, the robots, and the cloaked warships, they were all part of a much larger mission, a mission to save Earth. Bonner's thoughts were interrupted as an explosion tore through the ground near him. He ducked, his heart pounding, but when the smoke cleared, He saw something that renewed his strength. His team was still standing. Together, they had made it this far. The war was not yet over, but with their secret weapon now fully unleashed, they had a chance. They could win. Humanity could survive. With the drones overwhelming the alien forces and the human soldiers holding their ground, Bonner knew that victory was within reach. The alien invaders had underestimated humanity, thinking they could crush Earth with ease. But now, humanity's secret weapon, the AI-powered drones and robots, had turned the tide. The aliens might have had the technology, but humanity had something far more powerful: the will to fight for their home, for their people, and for their future. The war had reached its peak. Earth's skies, once a calm blue, were now filled with the smoke of battle, the air crackling with the energy of weaponry beyond anything humanity had ever experienced. Bonner stood on the bridge of one of Earth's last warships, staring out at the massive alien fleet that loomed above them. At the center of the alien armada was the Apex Destroyer, the largest and most powerful warship ever built by the alien empire. This was the ship that had been wreaking havoc on Earth for weeks, obliterating entire cities with devastating energy blasts. The human resistance had held on longer than anyone expected, but now, with most of Earth's cities in ruins, their forces were dwindling. They had no more ships left in orbit. The final stand would be on the ground, on the alien warship itself. Bonner knew that this mission would be the last one. If they succeeded, Earth would survive. If they failed, humanity would be wiped out. The plan was simple, but incredibly dangerous. Bonner and a small team of soldiers would infiltrate the Apex Destroyer, plant a powerful bomb deep within its core, and then escape before the ship was destroyed. It was a suicide mission, and Bonner knew that not all of them would make it out alive. But there was no other choice. It was either win this battle or lose everything. With a deep breath, Bonner looked at his team, a group of seasoned soldiers, their faces hard with determination. He knew they were ready. They had fought for so long, and now it was time to finish the fight. He clapped each of them on the shoulder and nodded, signaling for them to move out. The small shuttle carrying Bonner's team rocketed toward the Apex Destroyer. As they approached, the ship's defenses flared to life, sending a barrage of energy blasts toward the shuttle. The ship rocked under the intense fire, but the shuttle's shields held strong. Bonner gripped the edge of his seat, his heart pounding in his chest. They were getting close. When the shuttle finally landed on the Apex Destroyer, Bonner and his team burst into action. The alien ship was unlike anything they had ever seen. Massive corridors lined with alien technology, eerie lights flashing in every direction. The hum of the ship's engines reverberated through the walls, sending a chill through Bonner's spine. The team moved quickly, knowing that every second counted. They had to reach the core of the ship, plant the bomb, and get out before the entire vessel was destroyed. But it wasn't going to be easy. The Apex Destroyer was heavily guarded, and the aliens had prepared for their infiltration. The first sign of trouble came when the team reached the first set of large metal doors leading deeper into the ship. Bonner signaled for his team to stop, listening closely. The sound of footsteps echoed from the other side. Then, without warning, the doors slid open, and a group of heavily armored alien warriors poured into the corridor, their energy weapons flashing to life. Bonner's team immediately took cover, firing their weapons as the aliens charged toward them. The aliens were fast, their movements almost inhuman as they darted from side to side, using the ship's advanced tech to their advantage. The soldiers' weapons lit up the dark hallways with a flurry of energy blasts, but the alien shields absorbed most of the fire. Bonner gritted his teeth and shouted orders. "Get in close. We need to fight hand to hand." He was right. The aliens had adapted to energy weapons, but humans were still the masters of close-quarters combat. Bonner charged forward, his combat knife raised high. The first alien warrior swung its weapon at him, but Bonner dodged and slashed with precision, his blade slicing through the alien's armor and hitting its vulnerable neck. The warrior fell, twitching on the floor. The rest of the team followed suit, moving swiftly to engage the alien warriors in hand-to-hand combat. Sparks flew as energy weapons clashed, and the air was thick with the smell of burnt metal and ozone. Bonner fought with everything he had, his every movement precise and calculated. The aliens were fierce opponents, but the human soldiers had something the aliens didn't: heart. The battle raged on, but it wasn't just the warriors they had to worry about. The ship's eye-controlled robots, giant, heavily armed machines, started to march down the corridor toward them. These robots were nearly indestructible, their movements fast and fluid despite their massive size. Bonner's team had no choice but to engage them. Bonner moved quickly, grabbing a nearby explosive charge and throwing it at one of the robot's feet. The explosion sent the robot stumbling, but it quickly righted itself and turned its weapons on Bonner's team. Another soldier, Emily, rushed forward, firing her weapon directly at the robot's head. The energy blasts hit the robot's weak spot, causing it to collapse in a fiery explosion. The rest of the team followed Bonner's lead, using a mix of explosive charges, hand-to-hand combat, and energy weapons to destroy the robots one by one. It wasn't easy, but their determination never wavered. Each alien they defeated brought them one step closer to their mission's goal: planting the bomb in the ship's core and ending the war. As Bonner and his team pushed deeper into the Apex destroyer, they reached the heart of the ship, the central control room, where the ship's power core was located. But as they moved forward, Bonner noticed something that chilled him to his bones. His best friend, Michael, was not with them. "Michael," Bonner called out, his voice rising in panic. Michael's voice came over the comms, calm but firm. "I'll be right behind you. Just finish the mission." Bonner tried to push the feeling aside. They had no time to waste. He and the rest of the team reached the control room and began planting the bomb. But just as they were about to finish, the room's doors slammed shut with a deafening sound, locking them in. The walls began to hum as energy began to surge through the ship, and Bonner realized this was a trap. He turned just in time to see Michael running toward them, a look of determination in his eyes. He was carrying an explosive charge that was far more powerful than anything they had used before. But there was no time to ask questions. "Michael, what are you doing?" Bonner shouted. Michael looked at him with a sad smile. "You finish this mission. I'll make sure the bomb gets where it needs to go." Before Bonner could react, Michael sprinted past him, jumping toward the energy field surrounding the control room. He triggered the bomb in his hands, and Bonner watched in horror as his best friend was consumed by the explosion. The blast sent shockwaves through the ship, but Michael's sacrifice ensured the bomb would reach its destination. Bonner was frozen, a lump forming in his throat. His best friend was gone, but Michael's sacrifice had bought them the time they needed to escape. The rest of the team finished planting the bomb and sprinted toward the escape pod bay. As the countdown began, Bonner's mind raced with emotions. He had lost so many comrades, but Michael's death was the hardest hit. Still, he had no time to mourn. Earth was depending on them. The escape pods launched just as the Apex destroyer began to crumble. From space, Bonner could see the massive explosion that ripped the alien warship apart. The war was over. The battle for Earth was won, but it had come at a terrible price. Bonner looked out at the remains of the Apex destroyer, the wreckage floating in space. He knew they had won, but the loss weighed heavily on him. Michael's sacrifice would never be forgotten, and Earth would forever remember the bravery of those who fought until the very end. The final showdown was over, but the war's scars would remain forever. The battle for Earth was over, but the fight for humanity's survival had just begun. The blast was like nothing Bonner had ever witnessed. As the bomb detonated, the Apex destroyer, the largest alien warship ever built, burst apart in a cataclysmic explosion that sent a shockwave rippling across the galaxy. The explosion was so massive that it illuminated the sky, visible from every corner of Earth. From the debris of the ship, fragments rained down like a deadly hailstorm. but the battle was over. Bonner watched from his escape pod as the wreckage of the alien warship drifted away, consumed by fire and destruction. The bright light of the explosion gradually faded, leaving a dark emptiness in its place. Earth's forces had succeeded in their mission. Humanity had won. The alien threat had been obliterated, and for the first time in weeks, there was a sense of relief among the human soldiers. Yet, as Bonner gazed out at the remnants of the alien ship, the weight of the victory sank in. The war was over, but the cost had been tremendous. Thousands of soldiers, his comrades, had given their lives to protect their world. He had lost friends, soldiers, and his own peace of mind. The future of Earth was now secure, but the scars of this battle would never fade. Bonner's thoughts drifted back to Michael, the sacrifice of his best friend. Michael had given everything to ensure the mission's success, and now Bonner knew he would never be the same again. His mind was heavy with grief, but there was no time to mourn. They had won, but at a great price. Earth had been saved, but the consequences of the war were far-reaching. As the debris of the Apex destroyer scattered across the atmosphere, Earth's forces slowly regrouped. The survivors of the battle were overwhelmed with emotion, exhausted but triumphant. They had faced a technologically superior enemy and had won against all odds. The human spirit had proven itself stronger than any alien force could imagine. Bonner's thoughts were interrupted as he was pulled from his reverie by his commanding officer. He could see the pride and relief on their faces, but Bonner couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had changed within him. The victory was sweet, but it was bittersweet as well. The human commander nodded at Bonner, acknowledging his role in the success. "You led them, Bonner," he said softly. "Without you, we wouldn't have made it. You've secured our future. Now, we rebuild." Bonner didn't reply immediately. He simply nodded, his eyes still fixed on the scattered wreckage of the alien ship. The world would never be the same, but one thing was certain. Humanity had survived, and the alien empire had learned a harsh lesson. As Earth's skies slowly began to clear, the sun rose over the horizon, its rays cutting through the smoke and debris that still lingered in the air. It was a symbol of hope, a new beginning for humanity after the long and brutal war. The world had been scared, but it had also been strengthened. Bonner knew that humanity's resilience had been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Against all odds, they had fought back and claimed their victory. Bonner thought back to the early days of the invasion when the alien forces had landed with overwhelming strength. They had believed that Earth was nothing more than a primitive planet, easy to conquer. They had underestimated humanity, and now they had paid the price. Earth had fought back with everything it had, and in the end, it had been the human will to survive that had prevailed. The war had been brutal, and humanity had lost so much, but the resilience of the human spirit had been their greatest weapon. In the darkest moments, when hope seemed lost, the human forces had come together, united by their shared desire to protect their world and their loved ones. They had fought for their future, for their families, and for the hope that their children would inherit a peaceful world. Bonner knew that this victory was more than just a military success. It was a testament to humanity's ability to rise above the challenges thrown their way. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they were forced to confront the reality that Earth was not a planet to be taken lightly. As Bonner stood among the survivors, watching the sun rise higher in the sky, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had won, but the journey was far from over. The world was forever changed, and the scars of the battle would remain. But there was a future ahead, one that was built on the courage, strength, and unity of the human people. Meanwhile, far away, in a dark, secluded chamber of the alien empire, the leaders of the Alien Council gathered. The defeat of the Apex destroyer had sent shockwaves through their ranks. The once proud and powerful empire was now reeling from the loss of their most advanced warship and the destruction of their invasion force. The Alien Council members, each one a different species from across the galaxy, sat in silence, their faces grim. They had never imagined that their invasion of Earth would fail. They had underestimated the humans, thinking of them as nothing more than primitive, weak creatures. But now, they were forced to reckon with the consequences of their actions. One of the council members, a towering alien with metallic skin, spoke first, his voice cold and filled with anger. "We have been humiliated. We've lost everything to a species we thought unworthy of our attention." Another council member, a smaller alien with multiple eyes, spoke in a voice that echoed with authority. "The humans have proven themselves a formidable foe. We must not forget this lesson." The leader of the council, a mysterious and ancient alien, stood up and raised a hand to silence the others. His eyes glowed with an eerie light as he spoke. "This is not the end of the humans. They will be a threat to us for generations to come. We cannot afford to underestimate them again. The galaxy's balance of power has shifted." The council members exchanged uneasy glances, but they all understood the truth of what their leader had said. The human victory had altered the course of history, and the alien empire would never forget it. Earth's resilience had proven that humanity was not to be underestimated, and the galaxy would now have to reckon with the rise of a new power, one that would not be easily defeated. Back on Earth, Bonner and the surviving soldiers looked toward the future with cautious optimism. The war had been won, but the challenges ahead were still great. They had proven their strength, but the fight for peace was far from over. As Earth's sky cleared and the sun rose higher, Bonner knew one thing for certain. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, and no one would ever be able to forget the price they had paid to protect their world. The future was uncertain, but humanity's victory had changed everything.